Hey everybody, welcome back to Art Club with Dean. We are on the letter W today. For this session, I'm going to be drawing a wizard. So if we have our magic wands at the ready, let's get sketching. Let's start with our letter W and let's do a little circle like so. And then that comes down. So, and then we have another little circle like so. So that's my W for wizards. Well, I say wizards, I'm going to do a wizard. So bear with me on this one here. I'm a big fan of Harry Potter. I love the Harry Potters. The books and the films, I think they are wonderful. And actually in lockdown, I did watch them all again from the first one right up into the Deathly Hallows Part 2. Just the original Harry Potters. So I thought it might be fun just to do like a friendly wizard for our next sketch. Performing a little bit of magic. So I've just done the hat and I'm now going to do my wizard's face. And I want it to be a friendly wizard. I want to give him a few bags because wizards tend to be really old. Well, that's not true, is it? Because Harry wasn't very old at all. We're going to give him a wonderful big moustache. We'll leave that there for the moment because I also need to do where the beard comes in, around the ears, like so. And this is his straggly piece of hair. And we'll give him another couple of straggly pieces of hair. And his bottom lip. And then this part of the beard. Excuse me, that's R2. He's decided to take my pencil sharpener today, but thankfully I have two. Off you go, little one. I know he is so bored because the sun's not out today, so we're keeping him inside, and he is going bonkers. So you'll hear him scratching away with that pencil sharpener for a little while yet. So lightly draw in, and I wanted this wizard to have a huge beard. So we will do that, and again, a beard is just sort of jaggedy, like so. And I am also going to do some big stars on our magician's hat. And I always start off when I'm doing a star, not with a whole star. I like to do the partial star. Oh, hey R2. Thank you. You've had enough of the pencil sharpener and now you're coming up to lick the water for my pencil crayons. Thank you. Yes, yeah, that's my little pencil. I should use a magic spell on you to keep you off my pad, but we won't. All right, mister, let's get you down. Love you. You go and play. And we will do the start of his magician's robe. Here are his sleeves. So I wanted to do a lovely spell. And then here, in this arm, still with a robe, with a long sleeve, like so. Put that in. And the robe is going to be nice and wrinkly. Like so. And we'll put these wrinkles in now. I didn't finish off on my stars, did I? It's because R2 distracted me. Look at me blaming that poor little cat for everything. Okay, so as many stars as we can get on our wizard's hat. So we've done sleeve 1, we've done sleeve 2, and we've done a little bit, these little shapes here, they're going to be the darker areas when we come to do the shading on our wizard's robe. And here we have a bony wrist and the magic wand. Now I really have to think about the hand, and what I normally do is I try and imagine what my hand would look like. So this is the wizard's hand here. I look at how it would be if he was holding a wand, because sometimes they hold the wand like this as well, which is probably a little bit better for me in terms of doing the wizard's hand. It's tricky doing hands, but we do have our own hands that we can use as a reference. So depending on how you would hold your wand if you were a wizard, I think Harry and Hermione and Ron gripped theirs like this. Maybe Hermione held hers a little bit differently. So maybe we will do a classic hand pose, and that will be with our thumb, with the wizard's thumb like so, and then the fingers pressed in like so, and the last one out a little bit. And then we need to put our wand running through here. Now then, magic wands used to be different, but thanks to Harry Potter, they now look a little bit more fancy, like with large wooden handles and little different parts of ornamentation and different shapes and styles, which I think is quite fabulous. The wizard's other hand. And we'll have this finger here like so. Slightly easier to do when the hands are closed. And then there's the sleeve going down. And then lastly we can start to do his robe. Like so. And I'm going to do his robe a little bit open. Come on, mister, you don't want to be a part of my drawing. Let's get you off, eh? Because you put fur everywhere on my paper, hey? Come on, up you go, Angel. Wipe those magic hairs away. I thought it might be quite nice for his robe to be more open, like so. And here, we will have where it starts to open and comes round, and then a little bit more of the same here. Just like so. And then inside here, we will have one leg on show with a bony ankle, and then these, what I call wizard shoes. And I don't know why I always would draw the wizard's shoe like these little slip-on shoes. And then here would be a little bit of a tunic style thing. Oh, goodness gracious, you really are in need of some fun, but you're not drinking the water from my brushes. Come on, Angel, let's get you off and play now, because I know you're going to scratch me. Where are we? A little bit of the tunic. Actually, let's take that all the way across. I don't want that to be a tunic. I want that to be the inside part of his gown. And this little foot here. Oh, come on. For his second little wizard shoe, and then obviously the back of the cloak will be here. And lastly, we just need this little sleeve here to be done, and we will put some magic coming out of this wand as he's doing a spell. And we will add that in and put his little tongue in. Like so. And then we are going to put stars again on his uniform, or on his wizard's gown. So these are not hard star shapes. These are, I'm rounding them off a little bit. But I'm trying to keep them all the same size, if I can. So if you can put some full stars in, great. But they're not always going to fit according to plan. And little cat's very mischievous today. When the sun shines, he is going straight back outside when he can play. We'll finish off drawing all these stars. Like so. Get a few of these. Now I want to make them look like stars, not like starfish. So that's important to try and keep that shape whenever you can and wherever you can. The bottom one, the top one, and then this one would come across here like so. And let's put one more full star if we can. Well, a partial star is just as good. The beard comes here, so let's have the end of the star and the start of the star, like so. And then that's his little tunic part. There should be enough stars, I think, for now. No, we haven't. We've still got his sleeve to do. This makes it a lot easier to colour in as well when you have that mixture, so we don't have to do a huge, big kind of navy extravaganza with our wizard. And I thought that what might be quite nice is to give him kind of like a little pal, if you like. And let's put a little tree stump in here, which will be a tree stump, or a little bit of a, yeah, like a log. On a tiled floor, just to give him a bit of a base. I think that looks quite nice. So these are like a stone floor that our wizard is standing on. Just like so. And then here we can do a little frog. little froggy. And his little eyes are looking up. And he's looking quite shocked at whatever it is. Our wizard is doing, we'll give him a couple of markings, and then we can do all things like shading in. Yeah, and we'll also put the detail in with our log. So here's our wizard. What we can do is get him outlined in black. So I'll speed that up for you. There we have all our black work done. So all the outline's done. So now we'll switch over to doing a little bit of colour. So I think for my magician here, I would like him to have a very royal blue outfit. So we're going to be using watercolours for this one today. I think it's going to work really nicely. We can get some different tones in here. So we will still be using the principles we've learned all along. I'm going to make this side here, the underneath, darker. Just like so. And then also these little wrinkles here would be a little bit darker. Okay, so those little pieces there. And we have this piece here, because it's going to be shadowed by the beard, this will be darker. Okay, so these are all our dark areas here. This is the perfect colour blue, it's exactly what I wanted. And when I was young, growing up, one of my favourite pieces in a Disney film wasn't R2 the cat jumping on my table. Off you go. Although if it had been, I would have loved it. No, it was a clip from Walt Disney's Fantasia. A clip called The Sorcerer's Apprentice, which had Mickey being the apprentice, or the junior, or a very fearsome looking wizard. And it's a famous clip. It's where Mickey uses the magician's book of spells to bring the brooms to life, and they mop up all the water so he doesn't have to do his chores. And I loved it. I thought it was an absolutely beautiful piece of animation. But I loved Mickey with his sorcerer's hat on, like this, and I also loved the wizard. Even though he was a little bit scary, it was still a really beautiful drawing. And he had this kind of blue robe on, which I thought was really quite beautiful. It was almost like a, not quite a midnighty sky effect with the stars, but you know, you kind of get the whole effect of that when you see the stars against the blue. It looks a little bit like nighttime, like a fabulous pair of pajamas. So we're just taking that lovely colour blue wherever we need it to colour in all of the magician's robes. Now I can see there's some little bits here that I've missed off. This would be a little bit more shaded here because we are coming under the beard. So this here can be that little bit darker. So if we follow the beard round, then where that sleeve is as well, it's going to be a little bit darker. Like so. This will be darker here, underneath this sleeve, like so. Now I'm going to leave the stars white, but I will add a little bit of like grey to get some of that detailing in. As you know, I like to use like a grey or a light colour blue when I'm dealing with white. I just think it makes the white look a little bit better. But in this instance, because they are stars on his gown, they should just be pure white. We'll keep this nice and light as we go to the outside of the robe. Very nice. I think I may need to put a little bit more detail in here as well, in terms of the folds of the material. They're a little bit tricky. So let's just get all the base work done first and then decide where we go. So this sleeve here will have a little bit of dark creeping up, but not a lot. A little bit of dark in the creases of the sleeve itself, but I want to keep that as a contrast for now and make these creases here lighter. So the fabric here will be lighter, but the folds in between will be darker. And the outside of the sleeve will be the same. I need to fill in this side. It's a little darker towards the beard. This side can be relatively dark in comparison because it would be a little bit more shadowy. And we are almost there. Here's our wizard's cape looking, or cloak looking really, really good. Now I need to decide this inside colour, and I really would like a burgundy, but I don't know if I have a burgundy. Let's see if I have a colour that's close to burgundy. Maybe this little shade here. This is maybe a little bit more purpley than I would have liked. However, we'll make it work. I can always overlay a little bit of red. Actually, maybe this will work because this is kind of like a reddy purple. A little bit darker as it's underneath the gown. So this part here can be in shade or shadow, as can this part here. It's going around and this part here, and then these little parts here we will certainly add in as well. Inside of his wizard's robes will be black, so I'll add a little bit of my red over here just to give it that clarity colour. So you know with these watercolour pens, if you mix the two colours together, you can create a colour very much like using paints, which is wonderful. Let's give him a little bit of flesh on his face, and there isn't a lot here. So I am just going to do it on the outside. A little flesh colour underneath the eye and the cheeks. And I'm going to leave a little bit of light here on the nose itself. There's a little bit of skin here and here as we come around to the outside. We have his hands. Let's get those done. I will leave them light on the inside. Just where the knuckles are, and this hand here, a little bit darker, and the little finger, let's not forget that, so dark here where it's holding it, and actually that part of the hand would be dark too, and the hair and the effects for the hair I will leave till the very, very end. Now I do want to give him his boots. This looks like it needs a little bit of a sharpen. I like this colour and I use it a lot. These sandy colour brands I think are amazing. Like in between a yellow, an orange and a brown. I just find for like, for the earth and things, even for some flesh tones, they're absolutely amazing. They're really good. I fall back on these quite a lot. Look, I missed the flesh on his leg. This is going to be darker because it's in the shade of that gown, although we can put in some more shadow a little bit later. Mr. Frog. Light green, I guess, for Mr. Frog, but you can have a yellowy colour on his inner part of the body, and green on the outside, green for his legs, and for his little hands and legs. We said yellow for the inside of the body, like so. And for these little markings, how about we do them a really nice dark green? I have that lovely colour green, this one here. This is very dark, so I don't need a lot of it. Just here. And we do a little bit of that on this outside leg as well. And underneath his mouth, and this little hand here. The rest will be shadow work. A little bit of brown for the log of the tree. Now, where did I put all my lovely colour browns? Here it is. This colour brown goes here for the tree, or the tree stump that our little frog is resting on. Shade that, because this is going to be darker here. You can come back and put in these little log marks, so don't worry too much about it. And while I'm doing that, I will add another colour brown in here, just to, again, mix these colours up, because I think that will be fun, and it will look nice. And lastly, at the top of the tree is going to be this colour, which is similar to the boot. You know, where they had the rings. I want a little tiny bit of red for the inside of the mouth. Just like so. So that's our frog done. I think with all the other bits of detail, the wand we will put in a nice colour brown, nice and lightly, a little bit darker here, and a little bit darker here. But all of these parts will come into play a little bit later as we start to do all the blending work with our brush. So I think what we'll do before we go any further is start to move some of these colours around. So, you know, I have two brushes which are my favourites. These two here, the thin one and the slightly thicker one. Tapered tips, that's really important. And I should have somewhere, yes I should, it's just on the floor. I have my little pot of water here, and then my kitchen towel. So let's get the first thing I want to do is our wizard's face. So let's move around these fleshy colours before we do any of the blue. Just water those down. Like so. Leave that lighter. What I don't want to do is get any of that blue on. That could be disastrous. So while I'm still on his face, what I'm going to do is take a small amount of pink, I think, off on my brush. If you've seen me do this before, I'll make it very watery, just to dilute that colour. Mainly just on the tip, and the more you rub, the stronger the paint's going to be. So I can check a little bit of this on my piece of kitchen paper, and I can see already that that's way too strong for what I need. A little bit more water, and then yeah, kind of there. So what I want to do is just very carefully is add a little bit of pink just to the nose, and a little bit of pink just to the inner side of the face, a little bit of pink to this bottom lip, like so, and then a little bit of pink just to the ear. And that will give his skin a little bit more of like that old wizardy feel. In fact, I can probably have a little bit more on this bottom lip. I may even add a tiny bit of this red here. So I'm not going to add too much more water because I think this will be quite strong, yeah, as I know it would do. Put a little bit more of that colour there, and a little bit more of that on the inside of the ear as well. Now, that's the detail in the face done. I'll clean my brush up and we move back to just adding or filling in the flesh colours on the hands, avoiding the brown of the magic wand, and the same here on this hand. So you see, this is a real simple and easy part of the drawing to do. Now, I can probably go back in with my pink and just add a little bit more detail if you wanted to. And again, we test that just to see the strength. If it looks too strong, add a tiny little bit more water to it just to dilute it. And then we are ready. So we can do that to like the knuckle area, this part of the thumb, even down the top of the fingers, and a little bit on the inner part of the wrist. I'm going to go straight on while this is still wet, just to do the ankles. And you notice that these are considerably darker. I used more pressure with my pencil just to fill those in. Let's get on with our wizard's cloak. Now, we could go between the two brushes because there are some large areas, but there are also some small intricate areas. So let me start off with the small intricate areas here. Let's start off with our, oops, move that pad down. Let's start off with our light colours first. We activate those. This part here on the sleeve, and we're leaving that little band of white. And now we will start to move the colours together, carefully around the stars. And the minute you feel that start to go a little bit drier, and you top up with more water. And I'm going to go all one way on here. Just up and down, up and down. So here's my darker colour, and here is my darker colour, like so. And I think I'm going to need some more water, but I'm going to take off the excess from my brush. I will leave that here so you can see me doing that. As we do the dark here. And here. And we have some dark pieces here at the crease, or fold in the fabric. And then it's much darker on this part and around this star. As we start to take it into the other part of the robe. And that was nice and simple, and I think the colour is just beautiful. It's perfect for this. Let's go on to our magician's hat, because this will be another nice one to do. Let's start off with the lights, which is mainly in the middle. Just activate that colour with our water and our fine brush. So we've got all the light colours first. I can feel the water starting to disappear from my brush. So now I'm going to go in and activate a little bit of the darker blue. I'm going to clean my brush slightly and then take away some of that excess. So I don't want this too wet. This blue, especially when you press harder, is super strong. It's a very, very strong colour. So I need to make sure that I can still blend that into the existing blue, like so. A little bit more water, as we do the rim of the hat. So start off with the light colour, like so, and then bring the darker colour into it. And leave that little piece of light. I know I keep going on about the colour, but I think it's such a beautiful colour. Tap off a little bit more of the excess. Just go around these stars. That's why I love this brush. You know, a nice skinny brush. It's amazing how well it works and how quickly it works. And carefully. Just go around each and every star. I don't even have to be that careful because the brush does a lot of the work for me. If I'd used a bigger brush, I think it would have been trickier. A little bit more water there. Let's do this inside piece here. You'll notice where possible, I do try and go in the same direction. But you don't have to. You've seen me before use that scribbly technique, which I did for the underground picture, which is the little tale of little Timmy in the underground world. Sometimes I think it's nice to have what I call more of a watercolour effect, which is something that's a little bit more uneven in colour. And it works really well. I think I need a little bit more water off here as I do the dark parts close to the beard. Now you still need to be careful here on the darker parts because I'm going to add a little bit of grey, as I said, to the beard. And if I've got blue on there, especially this really strong colour blue, I don't think it's going to look very nice, mixing the blue with the grey. I certainly don't want that to happen. I can see a little bit of dark here, which we need to start to blend in around the stars. We have some light here and some light here. Around the cuff of the sleeve. Let's activate my brush a little bit more, get some more water on there as we do this part, which is nice and light. And here, and around this star here, because this is still light. This bit's lighter. And this bit here is lighter. And then it goes into the dark. So what I'm going to do is just wet my brush a little bit more, take off any excess so it's not too wet, as we start to add in the darker blue. Just around these little parts on the bottom. A little bit more there and there. I can still carry on because my brush still feels quite wet, just to do this lovely blue around the beard and around these stars here. And nice and dark. And then we switch over again, clean my brush, and then I'm going to start from the blue, the light blue, with a nice even wash of colour. I can still see R2's hairs on my page. And then we can take the dark down into the light just to blend those two colours together, making sure everything is connected. Let's do this little piece here because this is dark. Now I still have a little bit of water left on my brush. I can activate this blue. I need to go in for a top up only a little bit. As we fill in around that star, and here's a little star, and then we'll do this section. Be very careful around this little star. And more water and dab off the excess. We just come around the side here. The bottom part of the cape. I keep calling it a cape and it's not a cape at all, it's the wizard's robe. Around that star, around this little piece here. And notice I didn't fill in here, so I'll take that across. This little part. And finally for this side, that little part there. That's all of this side done. Let's go across. As I'm looking at it, do you know what I think? I almost feel as though this has like either a velvet or like a satiny feel to it, this wizard's gown. So let's carefully activate the lighter parts of the balloon. Like so. Same here. All the light parts first. Around these stars. I've got a lot of water here, which is why I'm moving from one part of the picture to another. But that's not always ideal, because the paint dries quite quickly. And we need it to be nice and smooth and even. A little bit more water and then tap off that excess as I do this part here. Underneath that little star and underneath this little star. Look at that, do you see that? I picked up a little bit of red as I've gone over here. It could have been disastrous, but I think we've got away with it. Just take this colour, a little bit more water, just take this colour into the other colour, so the two blend in together, and then the same here, this is darker, because it's underneath the sleeve. We left all our dark bits till the end, and now I can connect this up with that part. And also here, and let's do this last bit. Again, carefully around the star. Tap off the excess. That's all of our wizard's gown done. I have to have a double check, and I always do that. Scan my picture and make sure I've got all the pieces done, and this is the way I want it to look. So let's clean off my brush, make sure I've got rid of all the blue, and tap it onto my kitchen towel just to see that it's all gone, and then I'm ready to start again. So quite a bit of water this time, because we want to activate this colour. And remember, I've put a red in here as well as that purple, so you've got two very vibrant colours. And I'll see if I can create some effects here. So you see where I put these lines in? We'd have a mixture of light and dark, but I may even be able to use my white, which I haven't shown you a lot of as I've been doing these drawings. So darker at the top, lighter as we go down, This is a beautiful colour though. Take off any excess as we start to blend these colours in. And just on that last bit, be careful not to get overly wet, because then that will make your paper go a little bit lumpy. The texture is hard to go to paint onto. I'll leave that as it is for the moment. Clean my brush thoroughly. As we do his boots. Let's get those done. A nice even wash of colour. A little bit more water. As I do this lower part of the boot, now you'll see I've left this part here light, so I will come back and do that. Let's do all the outside parts first, and then just lightly fill around that colour. Same with boot number 2, it's almost all the same colour here. As we even out that texture. The colour. For his shoe, the wizard's shoes. We have the dark colours to do, which I will definitely just do in pure black. Things that are left to do are the frog, so let's get him done. Light colour first. Just nice and carefully distribute that light green about for our little frog. And again, storytelling is really good when you're doing your pictures, is to think about the part that each character plays. You know, I'm a lover of Disney films, and I think every single, or almost every single Disney princess and every single character has like a little sidekick buddy. If you think of Elsa in Frozen 2, she has that really cute little lizard. Pinocchio has Jiminy Cricket. You know, I love all these little sidekicks that these like human characters have. Oh, excuse me. Now then, let's do these little darker areas of Mr. Frog. There's little markings. And then we can start to blend some of this green into the yellow. So we take that around. And I will put a little bit of that yellow in the frog's eyes, but just as a little wash of colour. I clean my brush and then activate the red inside the frog's mouth. Clean my brush again, and then we're ready to do the tree stump. So we can get this looking more like a tree by playing around with how much water we use. So this time let's activate all the dark parts, and we can do them quite scribbly. So look at how they're drawn, which is almost like lines. And let's paint them like that. Darker at the bottom. Clean my brush thoroughly, and I'm a little bit wetter as I start to do the lighter parts. And just carefully sketch those in a downward motion around the little frog. We don't want any white on there. A little bit more. And by doing so, you almost create that woody effect. So not adding any additional colour, but playing up to these ridgy lines that we've put in. So there's the base, colour 2. So let's just carefully just do in here. And Mr. Frog is sitting. Inside part here. We have the wand, so I'm using brown, so I can go from brown to brown. We'll do the light first. So I'll activate that brown here. I want the handle to be a little bit lighter. Clean my brush, I'll add a little bit more water as we do the light on one side. And then we can do the dark on the other. Dark going around here. He's looking fine. Right, let's get some of this detail in his beard done. So I'm going to take a grey. This is a nice light colour grey, and I will just add some accents around his wonderful beard and his hair, especially around where the ear is. We will add those. His eyebrows, too small for me to put any detail in there, but definitely this part of the beard, and certainly here on this side. So we will add a little bit there and a little bit here in terms of these little lines, just to accentuate these 3 little ridges. And then lightly, so we're not using too much, we will just put these just around the outside. We will have it a little bit darker where the hand is, and that's pretty much it. So clean my brush thoroughly, put the trusty pencil back, and just a little bit of water. Let's see how we get on first of all with these parts. So we're just moving that around very gently. This needs to look like hair. And the hair of a beard is quite coarse. Tap off any of that excess. That nice and watery looking. Some areas are going to be darker, so you'll see that a little bit more. Like here, this will be a darker grey generally, because it's in the shadow. A little bit more water as we do this part here. Around the mouth, around the moustache, like so, a little bit here. And that hairline, that can be grey. And also around the ear, we said would be more grey. And we've got a little bit here, and also quite a lot here, because this needs to be the shadow of where the hand is over. So there will be more grey there. Finishing touches. Let's get the black in on the sleeve. So I will use my marker pen for this, just to go in and fill that in, like so. And also on this sleeve here. Just fill that in. Get that looking nice and dark. That will give us a really good contrast to our picture. It's always good to get some blacks in. I also want to do this little part here. This needs to be black. So very carefully colour in around the boots. And I really like doing this part with a felt tip, only because it gives us a lot more depth. But you could mix the two mediums. You could easily use a black pencil, watercolour pencil, or a black paint to do exactly the same. I think that's pretty much everything in terms of that. We just need to do his eye, and let's do that in black. I seem to have misplaced my little black felt tip pen somewhere. Where are you? Yeah. So let's just do these circles of light on the eye. Like so, a little bit of black here on the inside of the beard. Like so. I've also seen a little bit of grey that I missed out. So I'm going to have to put that in, which is here. So this will be really dark on the inside. Just clean my brush because I can't remember the last colour that I had. Take off any excess and then just start to move that around. And it's good. That's the colour we wanted. Where else needs a little bit more? Nothing at the moment. Yes. I have seen this little part here. Also needs to be black, but that could have been a dark brown on the inside of the boot. In fact, I should have done that dark brown. Just go over where the ankle is to make sure that looks nice and shady. We have the floors to do. The floors are going to be really, really easy. I am going to choose like a blue, like a nice light blue to do these stones. So I'm just going to carefully do, these are like floor stones. And it's just to give a little bit more of something interesting on the base. These are like floor stones, really old-fashioned stones. And then just with a nice, very wet brush, we will just go over those, just to activate them, very, very lightly. So we're just going to soften the pencil line of these. I'm not necessarily going to fill them in. I still want to see that shape. It's just to give it like that medieval floor effect. You see that's quite nice and wet. Could use grey. I just thought this bluey colour is just that little bit more interesting. I'll soften that up using the flat of my brush. I need a little bit of red on his tongue, so I will take off the red from my pencil, which you've seen me do before, very carefully. Check that again on my tissue. Wow, that's very, very vibrant, but it is his tongue, so I think we should be okay. Yeah, that's nice and watery, so let's take off a little bit of that and go with a little bit darker, I think. Here we go, that's the colour I needed just there. The magic wand. Okay, let's do some magical things around that. Let's do yellow. So we'll do all these lovely little zigzags here like so. And pencil can be fairly wet for this, not super soaked, but and then you just re-go over those just to blend them so they start to fade out. And you can make the points a little bit longer so it really looks like that's glowing. Same again for the top part. So you're just moving some of that yellow around just to get that lovely effect. And I think we can add another colour to the inside of that as well. Just which colour? I think a little bit of this very nice, like electric blue, just around the centre, or the tip of the wand, I should say. So just do these little shapes here, and then clean your brush. Make sure it's not too wet, because the blues we know are a little bit stronger. And then the same kind of thing, just pull these out to make them look a little bit sparkly. Careful around here. That's our magic wand. We can add a few little stars. You've seen me do these before. Just little, it's like a line, and then a line, another line through it. Very small, some strong, some light. That just adds to the magic. We don't need to cover those at all. What I'm going to do is just add, I said about this before, is adding some white. So if you have a white pencil, and sometimes I look at the white and I think, oh my goodness, why did they include a white? But it is just to lighten things. So we can add a little bit of highlight to the centre here to make the robes look a little bit more dimensional. And you don't need to fill that in, we're just going to scribble that right on. And again, with a little bit more of a grey pencil, or even a black, we can add a little bit more shadow in, as we've done before. So around the log, definitely around Mr. Frog's leg, like so. Just make sure it's not too strong as we add that colour in. And again, it's just a wash of colour, nothing too strong around the boots. And that just gives us that little bit of depth to make it look like the wizard is standing on the floor. So a shadow just around each one of his boots. A little bit more water as you just shade that in, like so. And this one here can be a little bit darker. The shadows are good, and they can go absolutely everywhere where you feel as though you need a shadow. So I definitely think underneath here, like we said about some of the stars need to have a detail, this would be shadowed because it's under the sleeve. So I can just get a little bit of water, which I can activate that on my brush. Just take that over the star here, like so, and the same here, and we've just done those shapes. Same for this part of the hand. This would be definitely in shadow. So again, activate that with a little bit of water. So we have a little bit more shadow around these sleeves. A little bit of shadow on some of these, not all of them. A little bit of shadow here on the arm. this arm here. So just, you saw me just putting a little tiny bit of this grey pencil, like so. And then also here would be a little bit more shadowing. Clean my brush and then just use a wash of water just to activate that darker grey. Around, a little bit around the beard. I'll take that straight from the pencil itself. As we go, just to shade that a little bit darker. So these are just tiny little finishing touches. They're not a necessity for everyone to do. But they will just sort of like finish off the picture quite nicely. Under the mouth. But I think that's pretty much it. I don't think we need to do much else to our wizard. So as a finishing touch, let's just go over the letter. I'm going to keep that in blue, I think, because I rather like this colour that we've got going on. So here we have our letter W. And W today has been for wizard. I really hope you've enjoyed the sketch. We'll have a different letter and a different drawing tomorrow. So I hope you'll join me then. Until that time, it's bye from me. Take care. Bye.